In principle, I think it's like a three-step process in order to get this how done. Number one, first we have to agree that we will agree, because we are in the stage that we haven't even agreed that we should agree. So it's very, very basic. Are we going to find a solution, how to do this, before somebody else comes over the top and offer the same solution, and we lose the game? So number one, agree to agree. Number two, I think we have to have the ability to take away the fear, and we can almost have like an insurance contract saying that, okay, let's start, we establish something, agree upon the principal commercial terms, and in the contract or agreement, we can have some milestones, we can measure, and if the result is unbalanced or not as we expected, because it's a win-win situation for all partners, then we can adjust it. But we need to have the maturity, we as industry operators. It's all about business cases, because if we all win and the consumer will have a seamless service, who's going to say no? But I think in order to go to that step, to first agree and then to test, I think we need to have the type of people with the right mindset, and not only looking into the contract and say, and the risk. Because there will be risk. There will be some unbalanced transactions going back and forth. There might be one winner if the commercial term is wrong, and there's going to be one loser, and somebody will be disappointed. But if we do this together, we quickly learn, and we establish this interconnectivity. I'm sure with some basic common sense and maturity, we're going to find a solution very, very quickly.
It is very many challenges that you face in a local market around this. One is the first kind of just the technical part. The platforms that has been built, mobile money platforms, very few of them has actually been built for interoperability. They've been built for being silos. So then you build APIs and you put up that one. Many other countries there is no local switches to connect to. So you need to try to do this bilateral kind of thing, and that is not very effective either. Then you have, of course, all the processes around that. We don't have any experience on how do you do clearing, how do you do settlement, how do you do fraud risk management across units, how do you customer experience around it. So these are all things you need to build, and we need to do that. And this is one of the reasons we haven't done it before, because this takes effort. And when you have 10,000 other things that you feel is more important in terms of getting the basic right, then you focus on that. But now it's, at least for our part, we see that now it's more time to focus on this one, because we see it as an opportunity.
If we really want to go for the big picture, and want to use this interoperability scheme to really take the mobile money to the next level, I think having a switch is really going to help us to do it right, addressing the fraud issue, addressing all the exception of transaction when you have to do the chargeback, when you have to do the all these difficulties and challenges related to a payment transaction. If you want to connect more than 3 or 4 telcos, but go a wider scale with banks and even on an international scale. So that a switch would really help. We have a lot to learn, but there are already a number of players which have built switch, whether they are banks, whether the Visa and MasterCards, even in the telco world, in the roaming space, we have done this kind of settlement and so forth. So there is some expertise here. It may come down to the ground very quickly back to the commercials, because having a switch obviously will definitely impact the business model. So how can we find ways, and maybe GSMA will be part of your role, is to help us define what would be the proper pricing we could have, what would be the requirement for a switch and the standards for building a switch in every of our markets. But yeah, the issue will be the commercials. I think it will be really a key point, because you cannot add this cost to the customers, so the telcos will have to take part of it.
Obviously, our experience is that regulators are very much in favor of interoperability. And they are very much, I think, aware of the kind of the benefits from that. Keeping in mind that they have an interest in consumers, and they have an interest in an efficient economy. And that is, from that perspective, there should be all reasons to support interoperability. And our experience is more that they are more a driver for interoperability than they are an obstacle. Because what we are facing in some of these markets is that they are coming up with regulation that are forcing interoperability if the industry players are not doing something on their own. So I think that is also an important consideration for us in terms of building this industry, that we should take our own steps, what we think are the right ones. So that is no doubt also a driver for part of what we're doing in Pakistan, is that we are showing our own roadmap for how we think interoperability should be developed in the market, instead of supporting what is a draft on the table of saying mandatory interoperability, where the regulator end up deciding even the prices between the players if they cannot agree their own. And I think that is, regardless of what kind of position you have in an industry as a player like that, you don't want a regulation, because then it creates uncertainty around business model and creates uncertainty about operating model. And the only thing that we don't want in this is uncertainty. Because if there's uncertainty, we don't get the investment that we need. So that's why I say we need a quite strong framework around how we're doing, and we should contribute to building that our own. And I think that we're doing best our own, and then talk with the regulators to do the right steps together with them.